Welcome to Under the Radar, where we examine the internal structures of our civilization. I'm Kirk Powell. Westerners tend to believe that everything has its limit, whether it's speed or endurance or virtue or the universe or time itself. Some of these limits are directly observable and some are not, but our belief in limits is very strong and widespread. So much so that some of the most superlative descriptions that we can give things is to grant them no limits, like the boundless human spirit or limitless wealth. Now, you may be saying, this is a show about fundamental assumptions, and isn't the limitedness of everything a simple fact? We look at trees and they are limited, we look at ourselves and we are limited, and the earth itself. Still, I would classify everything has its limit as a fundamental assumption and therefore applicable to this show for two basic reasons. First, we don't have any way to confirm that everything has its limit since we do not have access to everything. It is arguably the case that if anything was limitless, we would by default have access to it, but it's not at all clear that we would be able to understand it as such. My second reason is that even some of the things we do have access to do not fall neatly into limits. Let me give a few examples. First, on either extreme of the physical world, we see limits dissolving away. Quantum physics seems to be on its way to demonstrating the interconnectedness of all things, since the boundaries between objects on that scale are fuzzy. Astronomy suggests to us at once a limited but expanding universe, or an infinite universe extending forever in space and time, depending on what you look at. Second, time is something very familiar to us, and most of us regularly carry devices for measuring its progress. In the West, our view of time, with a capital T, is very linear and limited, with a beginning of some sort and an end of some sort, though exactly what sort we disagree, where other cultures have a more cyclical understanding of it. Given the length of time described in their systems, and given that Western history accounts for maybe 10,000 years at the most, we are not in a position to disprove their system in favor of our own. Finally, one of the fundamental forces of nature, and again something immediately familiar to us, gravity is a subject of some debate in the scientific community. Whether it is limited to the speed of light or happens instantaneously is in dispute, and you'll see research and arguments on both sides. So it turns out that the universe is not so tidy and limited a place as we might like to believe. For the purposes of daily life, it's convenient to assume that it is, and it's useful to remind ourselves of our own personal limits. But as to ascribing limits to all things everywhere, we are not in a position to do so except as an assumption. Next time on Under the Radar, we do a little housekeeping by picking up some scraps that didn't make it into other episodes. It'll be a patchwork episode, but it should be fun. Thanks for watching.